Welcome into the latest episode of Betting the Pitch Presents and Major League Baseball podcast. I'm your host, real_G Warner, Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and on YouTube, where you can find this podcast. I'm joined, as always, by at A Brooks Bets. We were 1-1 on our last episode. At A Brooks Bets took a push on an over in Philadelphia. I rode the Martin Perez Express straight into the tank. Unfortunately, I feel like the luster is coming off good old Martin. Andrew, how are you feeling on this Tuesday, May 14th? Are you ready to continue our winning record in this podcast this season?
Yeah, I'm ready. If you notice something a little different, short sleeves up here in upstate New York. The first time I've got short sleeves on. The weather's getting warmer. Ball's gonna start flying. I don't know what that means, but in my microclimate, I'm happy. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Well, let's hope balls need to start flying because every game it's the first team that gets to 4 runs seems to win, unless I bet it and then my 95% win probability seems to lose. However, a 6-0 lead was just enough for the Cleveland Guardians tonight, so we are full of positivity heading into this Wednesday, May 15th baseball card. And we're going to go through each of the games. We'll come up with our best bets end of show. If you're not following the podcast or subscribe to it on YouTube, please do so at @real_G Warner. On Betting the Pitch, it could be found on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And if you leave us a 5-star review and it's related to this baseball podcast, I'll have the best reading voice in the biz at A Brooks Bets. Maybe even act it out if it's something that you'd like.
I can do impressions. Let me know.
Yeah, just ask at A Brooks Bets to read it like one of the CBS fantasy guys that don't play for any money.
Oh yeah, I love those guys now.
All right, we'll start.
You try to find tidbits on every corner of the internet, and then you hear that, and you're just like, "Oh man, what have I been listening to?" Okay, all right.
Well, at this point, I can guarantee you that I unfortunately am betting a lot of these games that have 95 or higher percent win probabilities that lose. And I am mad about it still, even if when I wake up the next morning. So I can guarantee you that I am riding along with you, and as is at A Brooks Bets. So we'll start with another Martin Perez. I mean, you couldn't even draw this up. It's not even. There we go. It's not even possible, as I'm alerted by my sports book that I've been logged out. I guess they don't want to take any more winners. We'll start with Pittsburgh visit Milwaukee. Martin Perez, who is starting to get that whip starting to climb, looking a little bit scary. He's facing Robert Gasser. Seems like
be Gasser. I mean, I've never heard of this guy. That's probably good news for your Martin Perez train. But like Bobby Gas, I mean, that's good name. Never heard of him.
He supposedly has a nice slider. Doesn't throw gas like the name would suggest. Currently, Milwaukee -135 favorite at BetOnline. If you're not a member at BetOnline or Sportsbetting.ag, their sister site, there are links in the podcast description on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and on Spotify to go get some free money for your first-time deposit at either of those sites. Go take advantage of that. But getting back to this number, Milwaukee -135 at home, totals 8.5. Choose pretty heavily to under. What say you about this one?
So I did something a little crazy, actually. I bet the Pirates' future to win the World Series. I got a little excited about Paul Skeens. This is obviously not a Paul Skeens game, but him and Jared Jones. I mean, hopefully their TJs stay intact this entire season. To be honest, I know this is a baseball podcast, but I bet the Nuggets to win the NBA championship at 16-1 once they fell down 2-0, and then I parlayed it with the Pirates. I bet the Nuggets straight too, but 16-1, and they're now, by the way, I think plus 400 or something, but because they've even the series with the T-Wolves. But I parlayed it too at 16-1. I thought, whatever, we'll take a couple flyers, and now that was 2,000-1 once you parlayed them together. So it was kind of like a mini bet on the Pirates, but I don't know if you saw Paul Skeens, but he's that dude throws 102 and he's electric. We just saw Mason Miller close out a game, or the last 2 innings of a game. I don't think he closed it, but he was in a tie game 1-1 against the Astros, and he struck out 5 out of 6 guys. I was so disappointed in the pop out to right that he gave up. I mean, so these guys are bringing heat, and they have serious sliders. that's neither here nor there. That has
It's
nothing to do
not.
with this
Let's
game right
come
now.
back. Let's come back to these
That's my
Pirates,
thought
please.
on the Pirates in general. Okay,
Yes.
like let's get the Bucko train rolling.
Okay.
Um, I don't know if it's going to be now. I never heard of Bobby Gasser, so we're gonna go Pirates since they're a dog. I know they're on the road, and the Brewers are actually one of the best teams in the league as far as against the spread. So I looked up who's the most profitable teams to bet
Hmm.
on so far. It has been the Washington Nationals.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh,
Good.
yeah.
Good timing for
And
me
the
on betting
Brewers are
them
top
on
five.
Sunday.
So I know I'm probably, going against a little bit. I love Freddie Peralta and I love a bunch of the guys on their team. Um, I'll bet the Pirates is an underdog. I guess I'm not going to actually bet it on a game by game basis on this one, but I like the
You
underdog.
can give what you like. I mean, I like
Yeah,
Pittsburgh here as well. I think Martin
yeah,
Perez, he's just gonna have these things. It's what happens to him. He's pretty much always an underdog, never expected to pitch well, but he's always gonna keep you in a game. It might be a bullpen war at plus 124 on Pittsburgh. Might be worth it. I don't see a lot of runs this one on a getaway day game, so I might like under 8.5 most in this one. Moving next to Cincinnati, visiting Arizona. Andrew Abbott at Brandon Pfaadt. Looks like Fada minus 138 favorite at home. Totals 8.5, just a little bit more to over. Andrew Abbott, hard to really trust him, especially in another big hitter's park. But what's a hitter's park nowadays anyway, considering how dead the baseball is or how wide the strike zones are, is pretty much what I was staring at all night tonight. And every time I watch a baseball game now, could be useful for Brandon Pfaadt, though I feel like he's been very inconsistent so far. Are you believe that Brandon Pfaadt with his huge strikeout numbers, is that just a minor league thing? Is he not going to be able to do that in the bigs?
Um, maybe not right now, not in the immediate future, but I mean, didn't we talk about the Reds and the Diamondbacks last week? I feel like
Yeah.
they flip flopped. So now they're like
Yep.
in Arizona. It's a weird scheduling thing with MLB. We'll get to that later with the Red Sox, which is a strange stat that I'll give to you. But the Reds are an underdog against the Diamondbacks, and again, I sound like a broken record because you guys played the last time we had this podcast last week, but they're both disappointing teams to me so far, and I don't really know where to lean, but I'm gonna again go with the underdog. I'm gonna go with the team you're giving me plus money for.
I don't disagree. I was very close to back in Cincinnati on yesterday. That'd be Monday night. Probably would have thrown my laptop off the balcony because they blew a save in the ninth. They also, and that would have been
Was it
fault.
Edwin? No,
Uh,
sorry, his brother.
both Diaz's. So
Yeah,
both Diaz would have cost me thousands of dollars. That would have
yeah,
been a really nice night for the Diaz family and my general feelings towards the Puerto Rican, right? But anyway, I think or maybe Dominican. I don't know.
Alexis Diaz. That's
Yeah,
his name.
Alexis Diaz and Edwin. Yeah. I was guessing where they're from in general because I think if I was a fan of their World Baseball Classic team, I wouldn't
Yeah,
anymore. I think Cincinnati is starting to look like one of the worst teams in baseball. I got to say, I know it's tough for you to hear with your LA De La Cruz sunglasses on. Actually, if you're watching us live on video, there's no sunglasses available, but they're probably within just a few steps of at A. Brooks Betts gambling control center over there in Syracuse area, New York. We'll move to Colorado, visiting San Diego. Austin Gomber at Michael King, who went to a really great high school, might have been mine in Rhode Island, and he's a 241 favorite at home after a really good start against
yeah.
the Dodgers. I'm not a believer, but I mean,
No.
it's good for the high school. We got manager of the Twins, which is probably not a good thing because most people hate Rocco Baldelli. But then Michael King gets to pitch against the worst team in baseball, it seems, or one of the worst. Total here is 7, just all the way to over. And the ball flies in San Diego on getaway days, or at least on days. What do we think about this one?
Yeah, I mean the Rockies are terrible, but this line seems to be appropriately priced, right? Like I don't think that enough price that I might even take a flyer on the Rockies. These are
Hey
games
now.
that you don't really expect to win, but if you want to dabble in the underdog, this is a good spot to do it, I think. I mean, it's just it's a 2-to-1 price, and you don't often get that in baseball. And I don't think that the Padres. I mean, tonight Dylan Cease is going, and I heard a stat where Dylan Cease has the most starts of any pitcher in baseball in the last 3 years. So he's been durable. Anyway, that's again not relevant to this game. It was relevant to the game that was just played. But I'm gonna probably leave this game alone, but if I were to bet it, it would be the Rockies. I mean, at a plus 200, 205, 210 price, I take the Rockies.
You could also take the run line plus 1.5, which might be a
Yeah,
little bit better
plus
because
130, I think, right? Like plus one and a
uh,
half, plus 130,
I see even right now, but
even. Yeah.
you never know. Where depend books are different in that one specifically, and San Diego looks like as a big favorite, they only get 8 at bats, so there's nothing like a defensive indifference when you're sweating out a run line down 2 runs late in the game,
Uh,
and get that nice little walk, get to second on defensive indifference, a single up the middle, and you've covered the run line as the game ends. The next batter. Move next to the New York Mets visiting Philadelphia. A weird scheduling quirk. Speaking of, as Philadelphia was in New York and played a day game today, getaway day to go to Philadelphia, take an hour train ride a little bit southwest. We got Joey Lucchesi coming up for his, I think, season debut at Ranger Suarez, who has been awesome. Philly is minus 185, total 7.5. Kyle Schwarber returned for a pinch hitting appearance on Monday night. And then actually started today. So it looks like Philadelphia is pretty much healthy besides Trey Turner. The Mets bullpen starting to look a lot shakier than I honestly thought was the best part of that team really just a few days ago until Monday night. And from what I saw on Sunday and what I've seen a lot with the Mets lately is that awesome bullpen has fallen apart now that Brooks Raley is on the IL, probably getting Tommy John. Got any faith in Joey Lucchesi and those boots coming in?
yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think that the price is right. Like not, when you handicap these baseball games and you're talking about plus 170, plus, something around there, it's like you
Yeah.
don't exactly expect to win the game, except for like 2 out of 3 times, right? And then you become profitable, or I mean, 1 out of 3 times, or one out of whatever the numbers are. One out of, I don't know. You get my point.
I
Bet on
get
the
your point.
underdog, win in doubt. That's kind of what I do in baseball, just because it's such an iffy sport. Lucchesi, you don't exactly know. I know that Sanchez has been great. The Phillies have been hot too. They're leading their division. They're beating the Braves right now, but um, you know, it's a slight underdog lean for me.
Yeah, best team in baseball actually so far. Best
That's right.
record in baseball
First
after
first
starting the
one to
year.
30 wins.
Yeah, after starting the year pretty, I think that was probably last night. Thank you, Edwin Diaz. Thank you, Diaz family in general. We'll move next to Chicago and the Cubs visiting Atlanta. We have one line out there from Circa, so take this with a grain of proverbial salt. We got Javier Assad at Charlie Morton, and the Braves are minus 160 favorites. Total is 8. Javier Assad has been really great. Gotten no respect this season. Was an underdog on Sunday at home to Milwaukee, or maybe not Sunday, whenever that was. And to me, it seems like the Cubs are potentially learning, or we're learning exactly who the Cubs are with this series in Atlanta. I mean, they've been frisky though. They've been surviving with a pretty bad bullpen. Any interest in the Cubs stealing one potentially with your underdog ways?
Yeah, so in my little research, the Cubs have been one of the most profitable teams at home. This is not at home. Um, I'm not a true believer in home field advantage as in baseball as much as I am like college football, or some other source, college basketball for sure.
Yep.
Um, but Javier Assad, he's yes, he's pitched well this year. He's 3-0 with a 170 ERA. Charlie Morton's an old vet. I think he tried to retire a few times, but
He did.
he's the Braves are a better team. What's the price, did you say?
Minus 160 on Atlanta right here. So it
Yeah,
might be bigger than
I
this.
take Atlanta.
It might
That's
be bigger than this when everything comes out, but it's a right around where I made it. So I figured we use
yeah.
it. Yeah. Atlanta, I mean, I was close to betting the Cubs on Monday, couldn't do it, and I'm glad I didn't. I just feel like this is one of those teams. I'm trying my best in betting in this general lifestyle. It's just not betting against the best teams in a
Right.
sport. I feel like
Right.
Atlanta at home is one of those. Next, we go Dodgers at San Francisco. Get no starter yet confirmed for the Dodgers. It looks like Glass now is being moved to Thursday, not to Wednesday. But Logan Webb is pitching for San Francisco. He's the best they have, though hasn't really gotten off to a great start. What's your opinion on Logan Webb, and what you think he's going to turn around a pretty shaky start this season with very low strikeouts, and that generally was what he survived with in his career so far, but hasn't worked as well this season.
Yeah, not against the Dodgers. I mean, most guys, and you talk about not betting against some of the best teams in baseball. It's like they keep coming at you. I mean, you think Mookie Betts is good, and then Otani hits, and then it just keeps going. Freddie Freeman. I mean, I think those literally the top three guys in their lineup, three out of top five best hitters in baseball, something like that. Like certainly three out of the top 10. I mean, and they're all in the same lineup hitting back to back, and it just looks brutal. I mean, um, it's a tough spot. It's a tough lineup, and I don't believe in Logan Webb and his stuff this year right now. I know he's been effective in the past. The Dodgers are a freight train. I don't. I mean, they're 8-2 in their last 10. I think they're on their mission. They're
I
going to get
have
to
I
win
have not had a lot of
110 wins.
success going against the Dodgers this year.
Yeah,
I think that's something that could be reserved for San Francisco at home, where they play a lot better, but they're also missing a ton of outfielders at this point due to
I think
injuries.
Gavin Lux like poked one to right field and got a triple today. So I mean, it's just like they just don't stop. The Dodgers don't stop.
Yeah, and that catcher that's I think hitting cleanup is probably the best hitting
Yeah.
catcher in the game too.
Yes.
Moving to the American League, we'll start with Toronto and Yusei Kikuchi at Kyle Bradish. Looks like Bradish minus 125 favorite. We had a rain out, I think, in this series today, so I don't think there's a doubleheader scheduled, but this one looks really early, so who knows? But don't have that yet. So total's 8.5 here, which is pretty high considering the Great Wall of Baltimore. Plus, Yusei Kikuchi gets no respect despite being, I think, one of the best unsung pitchers across all of Major League Baseball so far this season.
Yeah, I have it as TBD, but Kikuchi's going.
That's what we have here.
Yeah, that's good against Kyle Bradish,
Yeah.
186 ERA. I know he's fresh off the IL, I think, but again, when we just talked about the three best teams in a row, the Braves, the Dodgers, and the Orioles. In my mind, I mean, they just don't stop. The Orioles have like three guys in the minors that I think would bat cleanup on other teams. With it's just they just don't stop. I really want to lean Blue Jays at this point because I do think they're undervalued in this spot. I'm not so sure, but if you want to quote me on it, I'll lean Blue Jays in this one.
Yeah, it seems a little cheap for Baltimore. Maybe we see this number change a little bit when we get to it or closer to it, or maybe this is a line that was put out earlier. But all I can use is what I have in front of me. So
Right.
that's all we
And
can
it's early tomorrow, so it might not change that much.
Yeah, it probably will have some 9 a.m. Eastern time adjustments made would be my expectation, but we'll see what happens there. I feel like Toronto, I mean, they haven't hit it all this year. Hard to back teams that, I mean, I backed Yusei Kikuchi this weekend, and I think he threw 8 innings with only 2 runs allowed and still lost. So, that's seemed to me like it really a lot of times I'm betting starting pitchers just to have good outings and hope they hang around. And it usually has been profitable in my baseball betting career. But sometimes, and I feel like with Toronto this year, it hasn't really worked very well because that lineup is really, really scuffling.
And their bullpen is the worst. The
and,
worst.
And again, it was supposed to be a huge strength, and
Right.
it has not been so far, which
Yeah.
I mean, I think it has the arms.
Jimmy Garcia's out, I think.
Well, Jimmy can't. So Jimmy, as they're calling him on this Toronto broadcast, I don't know if they're just like it's not Americanized him because he's technically in Canada, but he returned. I want to say on Sunday, was warming up, but like I think pitched in a game somewhat recently. But unfortunately they've got the names, but bullpen seems to like be the most difficult thing to figure out. And dominant pitchers from last season, like Eric Swanson, has he's basically been tattooed ever since he came off the IL. So maybe he's not that healthy, or maybe that's just how it goes. If you're in the groove, you got the momentum going, you're a good bullpen arm, and then you get hurt and it all starts from zero, and who knows what's going to happen, especially when I think that was the Teoscar Hernandez trade. Speaking of negative value players, according to A. Brooks Bets, I believe it was Eric Swanson, a relief pitcher for Teo Hernandez, who strikes out a ton, but I think he hits 25 home runs every year. You can set your watch to it. We'll move
He's
next.
second in the league in RBIs in that, again, Dodgers lineup, which we can't stop talking about.
Yeah,
I
which
mean, they're everywhere.
we haven't even mentioned them. It's like literally
Yeah.
you got the Kings at the top, and then just any peasants that show up all of a sudden are going to have huge
Yeah.
years.
Making 21 million batting sixth or seventh. I mean,
I'll bat ninth for 19 million if they offered it to me today.
me too.
We got Kansas City, Alec Marsh on the road at Brian Wu, which is a very interesting case here. Wu minus
It is.
136 favorite, totals 8, very juiced to under. Probably see 7.5 before first pitch. Getaway day, and certainly the ball will travel a little bit better in Seattle, but that's kind of an oxymoron at this point. Alec Marsh isn't really a strikeout guy. Brian Wu is supposed to be, but he said he was dealing with some forearm tightness after his start and had been late to start the season coming off the IL, and then supposedly a prize prospect. I mean, he's young and yet he's pitching through things. What's going on in Seattle with Brian Wu? Does that make you want to bet the Royals?
What a weird case. Yes, it does. I mean, well, I guess they'll have some, obviously all the guys in the bullpen are big league pitchers, but I mean, yeah, Brian Wu is like hurt and has forearm tightness. You'd think they're like, oh, bang, Tommy John surgery with the way things, or at least baby him for a while until in 2 months from now.
No, he's starting on regular rest.
Yeah, they're just gonna throw him out there. Like,
rub some dirt on it.
Like, no, this is normal for me. Okay. We will see. I'll bet you Tommy John by the end of this 2024.
I'm not taking.
I would say yes.
I'm not. I bet you would. If you offered it to me, I would not say no, because probably any pitcher you could suspect is going to happen, especially a young one, especially one that's come off the IL already with arm problems. Because usually, if it's your shoulder at first, I think it was with Wu, you never know when that little UCL either on your thumb for a lot of players like TJ Friedel, but this
who needs a UCL?
It's a great question. It honestly sounds like a great fantasy team name. Who needs a UCL? I think that's what I named mine after I lost 4.
Oh, the Mariners keep winning games though. I mean, they're leading the AL West. They're also leading the league in strikeouts, and they are the number 1 team to bet on the under so far. So I don't know.
So under 7.
I'm gonna hammer the Royals.
8,
what can I say? I'm gonna hammer the Royals. I don't believe in this Brian Wu story. I don't know. And somebody's probably just ready to go because he's like, oh, Brian's gonna get pulled in the 3rd inning with forearm tightness again. But
well, it probably means
Royals been profitable at home. This is on the road, but I think the Royals are actually really good.
I really like the Royals at home as well. Yeah. I'm concerned about their bullpen. I gotta say, I don't really know that I trust their closer. His name's escaping me at the moment. Mick something, one of my brethren from across the Atlantic. But I just feel like there's not a lot there. That I feel like in their home park, they're built for it pretty well. Got a nice photo with Rex Hudler when I was in Detroit, actually, for the NFL draft. Just missed Jason Benetti, which is hilarious, but oh well. Got the real stud that's out there that I guess was like a career.
You went from
200
from D-list, almost got the C-list celebrity. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think a guy that literally would probably be bagging groceries based on his Major League Baseball statistics, but somehow is traveling around talking baseball like he actually was good. We'll move next to
that's what we do.
I mean, hey, we're making big bucks here, though. We got the next one is close to the heart of at A Brooks Bets and formerly at the Real _G Warner, but I've lost all interest in favorite teams besides my alma mater, which probably I should divorce myself from that as well.
Come on, we're about to get good.
Football's looking nice, though. I gotta say, thank you to thank you to the SEC schedule makers. Appreciate that. But we'll start with Tampa Bay visiting Boston. We'll try to get to the Texas Longhorns if we can. End of show. Taj Bradley. And he's taking on
first start, right?
Out. What?
That's his first start, I believe.
Yeah,
off the IL, off of Tommy John, I think, or something from a long time.
I don't think it was Tommy John because he's been. I think he was pitching early last year because I was going down with the Taj Bradley ship.
But it's my guy Tanner Houck.
Yeah, Houck minus 139 favorite at home. Totals 8.5. Juice pretty heavily to under. Pretty bad defense from Boston, but Tanner Houck's learned that and pitched pretty well through it already. Just knows don't let the ball go to the fielders, strike people out, see if you can do that. Tampa's doing weird stuff for their bullpen. Their closer has been absent, and Pete Fairbanks with a cut on his finger after I think having a stomach ailment that kept him from even going to the ballpark, and then all of a sudden he was mysteriously on the IL. Something weird's happened there. Hopefully, it's not another Wander Franco situation, but Crazy Pete with those crazy eyes, you really never know. What do we think about Tanner Houck in this type of respect? Because to me, I think Tampa Bay is a better team than Boston, even though I'm not really high on Tampa. But they have to go on the road, and they're not the dominant road team they've been in the past, where it was pretty much just close your eyes and bet the Rays on the road, and you'd be profitable and very profitable. I think it would be at end of season.
What's the line we're working with?
Minus 139 on Boston. So I'd say that's bigger
Yeah.
than the like standard home field advantage type of number. It's kind of saying to me, it's saying Tanner Houck is a better pitcher than Bradley, and the Red Sox are at home.
Yeah, the Red Sox won in extras today. It was their first come from behind victory all season. It was also their first division victory all season.
Hey now.
Now, only out of 4 chances, so they lost the opener to the Rays, and they've only played 3 division games before this. We're mid-May, and they've only played 4 division games. That's another scheduling quirk that I hinted at earlier in the show.
That's what you're setting us up for. That's what they
Yeah,
call this business a tease. Because I know the Mets and the Phillies hadn't played yet, and they're doing this weird 2-2 series in multiple ballparks. But okay, so they played 3 games, open the series. You're saying the Red Sox did at Tampa, have not played the Yankees, have not played the Jays, and have not played the other team I can't think of
Orioles.
right now. The Orioles. There we go.
Yeah, yeah, no, they haven't. Tanner Houck's been great. I'm at a crossroads because I love the Red Sox and I don't think they even really had a chance to compete. They seem to be hanging around, and then you throw that thing at me like they haven't even played any division opponents yet. That's probably a good thing for the Red Sox because the Orioles and Yankees are awesome, right? I mean, if when they play the Blue Jays, it might be a toss up, and when they play the Rays, it might be a toss up. But I think that I'm going to take I've been I think profitable this year on pitchers coming back from injury and like the hype surrounding it. That's Taj Bradley to me, and so I'm going to take Tanner Houck and the Red Sox in this one.
Yeah, so you're betting against those that are
Correct.
returning from the IL.
Yeah.
I feel like as much as you could say it's you get your rehab outings done in AAA or AA or whatever level if they're sending Blake Snell
It's
to
just not the same.
the junior college league or something like that.
Yeah.
Independent ball maybe. It's not the same because I mean it's really hard to take. Like numbers look awful. I think I bet Justin Steele on his return to the majors after a really horrible rehab stint. He was awesome, but the Cubs bullpen blew it anyway. I think similar to you, it's really hard for me to want to back Taj Bradley here. I think the spread's higher than I'd want it to be, or the prices, the money line price is too big for me. So I'm interested in Tampa in that way. I think probably my biggest interest is over here, but that's also got plenty of problems with umpires, especially I guess it's not getaway day. It looks like there's another game in the series, but it just feels like there's a really lot of bad umpires out there, and I don't want to deal with them. I guess I'll pick this up a little bit time wise. We got the Yankees visiting Minnesota, Marcus Stroman, Pablo Lopez. Don't worry, just say what you want, and I'll keep us moving. But it looks like the Twins a slight favorite at minus 110 at home. Pablo Lopez total is 8. What do we think about this huge Twins win streak? Are they anywhere in the same class, near class? Like, are the Yankees first class and Minnesota's coach, or like are Minnesota Twins middle seats right now?
No, yeah. So the Yankees are definitely first class, and the Twins are coach. But sometimes you can have a party back in coach if you good like a good seatmate or something, or maybe you
Hell
get
yeah.
lucky with the exit row, or
Ooh.
maybe you got the whole row to yourself. But it can happen, and Pablo Lopez is my guy to take me there. Actually, the Yankees beat the Twins today to halt that streak. So yes, I mean this is tales old as time. The Twins make the playoffs and they play the Yankees, and then
They get
bang,
swept.
they're out.
Yeah.
They are out so fast you never even
Yeah.
remembered it. But I'll take Pablo Lopez here. He's their ace. He's the guy. He's a guy that I kind of want to bet on all year. Stroman is a guy that I want to fade all year. So if you give me those two things, I'll take Pablo Lopez.
It feels like a throwback to my olden days where I just literally didn't care about how much he struck out anybody. I just went for teams on the road that I thought were better. And I really don't love Pablo Lopez. So I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I'll take the Yankees. I feel like they'll probably close a favorite, but at this point, I'm going to wait and see. And if they
I'm
don't,
gonna wait because this Yankees, the Yankees always get money, so I'm gonna wait and
I'll
see.
always get
Yeah.
money. And so it'd be eye-opening if they don't here, but we'll see. Moving next to Cleveland at Texas. Watch this game very closely today. Texted at A Brooks Bets throughout, just waiting for the eventual collapse. It almost happened, but thank you to the Cleveland bullpen for not surrendering us 3-run lead when they came in today, which the Mets had listened yesterday. But Cookie Carrasco visits John Gray. John Gray minus 152 favorite. Gigantic, but he's been pitching really well. Cookie Carrasco looks like he should be in that independent ball with Blake Snell right now. Total's 8.5, juiced all the way over. Cleveland with two pretty dominant wins the first two games of this series. I know you have the Rangers to win the AL West. They are right around, despite having no pitching this entire season so far. How do you feel about the Rangers in this one and going forward?
I'm gonna fade the Rangers for the first time on this podcast. I'm about the Guardians. Um, we saw this big collision
Oh,
in short center.
Rocchio,
Really,
yeah,
it was definitely
nice
short
work.
center. It was had the shortstop really had no business being there. My point of that story is that the dude held on to the ball like it was an out. You know what I mean? Like the Guardians again, they like come through. I know it was a nasty collision. Hopefully they're both okay. They both, I think, stayed in the game,
They
but
did. They
they
did.
banged each other's
And
heads and both
actually,
had some.
Brian Rocchio, he also collided with Andres Jimenez on a ground out earlier in the game. Jimenez, while throwing it, the Rangers radio broadcast, as I was struggling with my like pirating TV connection because I can't watch it, I'm blacked out locally. They said it was roughing the passer. But
Yeah.
and then later in the game, Andres Jimenez like waved him off on a ground ball and said, "I'm taking this." So Brian Rocchio must be a psychopath. I'm gonna go over 8.5 in that one. I don't love overs at this point in my life, but I think Carrasco could potentially even offer that himself. Moving a little bit quicker, we got the Oakland Athletics, and I think we got Andrew Brooks pitching at A Brooks Bets. He's
Aaron Brooks.
good. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
I
But
wish it was me.
yeah, it would be
Me and
nice.
Craig.
At at Framber Valdez, Valdez minus 228 favorite, gigantic for how Houston's played so far. Total's 8.5. Any interest in your namesake and Oakland, who seem like they're maybe struggling with Houston this series so far?
Yes, I know. But I mean, plus 195 is what I'm looking at.
Yeah, 204 even at Bet Online.
Plus 204. I'm going Athletics. The
Maybe that
Athletics
run
have the
line.
best OPS. Yeah, maybe run line. The Athletics have the best OPS in all of May. I mean, like the Athletics, I'm not sure they're going anywhere. They also have the best closer in baseball. He's under team control for a long time, so they're the A's. They'll probably trade him. But oh my goodness, this dude is electric. We talked about Mason Miller earlier. But yeah, I'm gonna take the A's plus 200 and something for sure.
Yeah, I like run line. I've been looking to be against Framber Valdez.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's the same. I think he's hurt.
Is that the run line plus 130 that I was looking at?
Might be. Miami visits Detroit in early one getaway day. Trevor Rogers at Casey Mize. I think it was 1-0 in 10 innings today. So 8.5 feels like a gigantic total. Detroit minus 155. Trevor Rogers, you think he gets back on the track?
Yeah, Tigers by $1 million in this one.
Whoa.
I'm not gonna go Tigers minus 1.5. I might go Tigers run line on the minus side.
Wow.
I looked at this game and I'm not gonna overthink it, and I just love the Tigers. I'm it's one of those feelings.
Well, Casey Mize is he's rounding into form. Still, I don't think he strikes
Number
out.
one overall pick.
I don't think he strikes out enough batters, but it seems like torque is starting to hit the ball a little bit. They just literally didn't score in 10 innings today, so I find it's hard to back them because if you take that run line minus 1.5, they at least need 2. Patrick Corbin Day, he starts at Garrett Crochet, Washington at Chicago after a doubleheader today. It looks like Chicago and Crochet minus 137 at home. Total is 8, juiced to under. It's really weird seeing the White Sox favored.
Alert is what I wrote down. White Sox are favored. Hammering the Nationals. No way.
Hell
Garrett
yeah.
Crochet, yeah, I get
yeah.
it. He's got some stuff. Whatever. He had a good outing last time. He's bound to blow up. No. Alert. The White Sox are favored. No.
Yes.
Betting the Nationals.
If you're watching Apple Podcast, Spotify, or on YouTube, please, if you have the technology capabilities, please clip that and turn that into something. Move next to
alert.
Last one on the list. We can get into our best bets. St. Louis, Lance Lynn at Griffin Canning, my namesake. Of course, Griffin is an underdog at home, which probably fits into my betting strategies, and it sounds like at A Brooks Bets as well. St. Louis minus 118 on the road, totals 8.5. Two really bad teams, and I feel like St. Louis is not known to be that bad just yet, but we're gonna find out.
We are. It is hard to look at these teams in the same light. You know what I mean? Like, but they are. They're both bad. I don't know what to do. I'll probably watch this game and hope and see who's worse. I don't like betting on teams to figure out who's worse. You know, like that's not usually where. I don't know if that's where the money is. I know money might be in the crumbs, I guess, but it's not joyful for me, really. So I'll lean Cardinals because, right? You have to. They've been good for 10, 20, 50 years.
Someone once said in the gambling community, when you bet on shit versus shit, you get shit. Sorry to all the little kids listening to this podcast in the back of their dad's car who's trying to really get them into gambling at young ages. But, shame on you anyway. Dr. Ochoa. I think from just my feeling here, I like the home dog because I don't like St. Louis, and that's as simple as that. So it's time for our bets before we get out of here. Easy for me to say, and I think I just said bets. But best bets at A Brooks Bets. You want to give us yours, and then I'll close this up?
Yeah, I'm taking the Nationals. I'm taking the Nationals against the White Sox. I mean, you cannot tell me that the White Sox will. This is the last time the White Sox will be favored all year. Write it down.
Last time the White Sox will be favored. I mean, possibilities if they're at home, that's probably one that's required. Maybe if Miami plays there, I don't know if they will. Man,
the Nationals are the most profitable team to bet on all year, and they're playing the worst. I don't know about money, bet wise, but the White Sox are the worst team, or them or the Rockies. I mean, I'm taking the Nationals for sure.
Sounds good.
I know Patrick Corbin stinks, but he's native of Syracuse, New York. Went to CNS. Shout out Syracuse North Stars.
All right, I want to cut this in. This is the real_G Warner. You're listening to the Major League Baseball podcast, courtesy of the Betting Pitch Podcast Network. You just heard at A Brooks Bet say alert, alert, alert about 60 times in this podcast because the White Sox are favored. So at A Brooks Bets is giving you Washington Nationals plus 126 on this Wednesday, May 15th. Please make sure you subscribe on YouTube at the real_G Warner or on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Go type in Betting the Pitch. Make sure you don't miss any episodes. We're coming to you live every Tuesday night, or relatively live, recording Tuesday nights for the Wednesday card, getting you ready for a full slate of day games, as it seems to be the new Thursday of getaway days out there. If you're not following me yet on Patreon, check it out, patreon.com/real_G Warner. But for my best bet on this episode, I'm going to go with another early game. So we got at A Brooks Bets gave you Washington plus 126. I'm going to go with the Seattle Mariners under 8 runs. I don't see a lot of runs in that one, even if Brian Wu has forearm tightness or something else. We'll see you all in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in, and we might get kicked off in 14 seconds. See y'all later.